I just want you to be my mom is the best line that Jen could have given. If you're wondering why Jen thought it was a good idea to have Barb plan Chicky's party, that whole line tells you it all. She wanted to give Barb a moment to be her mom. Hey, my name is Shauna A. I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor, and I helped innovative service-driven clinicians develop their private practice so that they can have sustainable long-term careers beyond the couch. From time to time, I provide commentary on the Shaunaverse. I have been reviewing Barb's Betrayal and talking about each character one by one. I've talked about Barb, I've talked about Frank, go check those out, and Barb's Betrayal before coming here, because now we're talking about Jen. The thing about Jen is that she wants to have the connection with her mom, but it's just that Barb does not know how to create that connection. And I've already said that I believe that Barb doesn't really have a strong sense of self. She's not connected to who she is. So it's hard for her to make connections with other people because she doesn't even have a connection with herself. Barb has to connect with herself before she can truly have connections with others. And I think this is really important because in the early episode, when she is talking with Mo and Sam at the store, she says, Jen and I have always been really close. But we know from the Thanksgiving episode, Jen says to Barb, you've always made me feel really small. So we know that Jen has attempted to latch onto Barb because she wants Barb to show up and be her mom, but Barb continuously makes Jen feel very small. And I think that in this moment, in this instance, when Jen was giving Barb the party, she had already bargained. She had already thought of this master plan in her mind where she gets Barb off of her back. She makes her feel honored. She makes her feel seen, heard, and validated while she is able to have her cake and eat it too by having her moment with Chicky and Greg on Chicky's actual birthday and allowing for Barb to have her moment over here. She may also have been planning wedding stuff that she actually did not want Barb a part of. We've also seen Jen throw Barb another bone before. Remember, she went to Barb to get the wedding dress because she had always assumed that she was going to be wearing it. And Barb really came back, dug at her, and made her feel small again there in the worst kind of way. She told her she didn't think she would fit the dress. She was like, no, you can't have my dress. That was a moment for Barb to have a moment with Jen, and it went right over her head. Jen bargains with Barb in a demanding way. So it's I'm here for your dress. I always thought you would let me wear it. Like, she didn't think that the dress thing was going to be as big of a deal as it was, but it wasn't in the right way for Barb. Jen has been teetering the line of actually wanting to have these connections with Barb. She knows the way Barb makes things. She's still upset with Barb over Thanksgiving. I think that she gave Barb another chance, another moment to show up and be her mom in this instance. And of course, Barb received an inch but tried to take a mile. It seems like the more distance that Jen has, the more she's able to say, hey, no, this is how I want it. Mom, listen. Mom, no. So she's able to have a little bit more control the further outside of Barb's arms she is. But she still wants Barb to show up as someone that Barb has probably never shown up for as Jen. We also know that Jen is fairly sentimental. There's the wedding dress. She approached her because she used to try on the dress all the time. The picture, right? She said that they painted the colors. The theme was purple, like in her memory book. So Jen has this idea of who Barb is to her, but I don't think that Barb has ever shown up that way to Jen in real life. I think the reality is very different than the memories that she has. I think that it was really easy for Jen to give Barb this party because Chicky's turning 1. She's not going to remember it anyway. So it's a milestone moment. It's a big deal, but Jen's wedding is an even bigger deal. So I'm going to do all of the planning over here so that you're not looking and you can plan this thing that's a big deal. But it's okay because Chicky's not going to remember it. When Jen calls Barb, she's already fairly stressed. And to me, that means that she's already in a defensive state. Because she's already in a defensive state, She's already fairly vulnerable because she's stressed out to begin with. And to me, she was very hesitant. But when Barb responded the way that she responded, then Jen got sentimental. I think that that was a moment of hope for her. Like, oh my goodness, like she's going to do this and it's going to be fine. It's going to be great. We can see when she gets flustered, though, that's when she becomes a little bit more heightened. When Barb calls and she wants to change the party and she's like, no, the party is this. We can see that Barb is like, oh, that woman, when she talks about Katie. She's arguing about the context. I think it was so smart for Jen not to share the context with Barb, because I felt like that might have been another way that she would manipulate Jen. Barb doesn't seem to have any boundaries. So she would connect with Ty and connect with Alicia, connect with Sam in a way that really continued to manipulate against Jen, so that when Jen finally says, my mom does this, that, and the third, they have relationships with her, they can see her. And so I think it was really smart for Jen to be like, I'll do it, send me the invitation. But again, we see that for Barb, it's all about the pomp and circumstance. It's the etiquette. It's the mask that she's trying to hold. Now, the same thing with the dress size. She doesn't give Barb her dress size. And I think this was also smart, because I felt like if she had given her the dress size, it would have been another quip about, oh, you're so much bigger than me. Or, oh my gosh, when I was that age and I had one baby, I was so much smaller. You're not even going to be able to fit my wedding dress. You were much bigger than when I was. It's another way of Jen trying to protect herself. You can't have my friend's contacts, and you certainly cannot have my dress size. So Barb just buys a bunch of dresses anyways, but I think she was really trying her best not to give Barb any mission. I think Jen's big mistake in all of this was her thinking that she can give Barb an inch and it would be enough for her. Barb wants all of the glory all the time. She wants all of the honor. And I've seen people say like, oh, it was so nice of Barb to show up to her house and drop off stuff. But she was planning a party. She was planning a party for that following weekend. She did not have to drop off those gifts. And if it was so important, she could have asked Jen. She could have had consent from Jen. Hey, I want to just drop off some things for Chicky for her birthday. Is it okay? If it was that important for her to be able to celebrate it, why didn't she leave those gifts on the front door and send her a text message, or leave those gifts around the back if she could have? Why did she have to go in and be the center of it all? But Jen too is attempting to create moments. She's attempting to create memories with her and Barb, especially as these big milestones come up. Barb does get it right every once in a while. She got it right when Chicky was born. She didn't get it right for Thanksgiving. She didn't get the wedding dress. She gave her an opportunity to get it right here, and she didn't get it right here. To me, this really signifies that because Barb doesn't feel connected to who she is, she misses when something is enough. A lot of times she misses it, and then she digs herself into this hole. She doesn't see the wedding dress as a big moment until she has to run it by the therapist. She doesn't see Chicky's birthday as a big moment because there's another party that Jen's having without her. It's not enough for her to be able to be the one to plan the party. All of a sudden, everybody's using her, using my money and my time. And Barb doesn't mind the transactions as long as she's the one that's calling the transactions. The moment that Jen attempts to engage in her in a way that she feels that she's being used is a moment where it's all of a sudden no longer good enough. Now, we talked about the apologies and Barb's fake apologies, but I also thought it was really interesting that Jen too also gave a fake apology to Barb. She said, I'm sorry that you are feeling hurt. Jen apologized multiple times in multiple different ways. And I think that this was so important because really Jen shouldn't have been apologizing, but she's trying to get Barb to stop doing what she's doing, which is ignoring her. And I think that this is Barb's pattern of silence. Like, I'm going to ice you out. I'm going to play the silence game with you. And I'm going to actively ignore you until I get you to do what I want to do. And she had Jen right where she wanted, because that's exactly what happened with Jen. She automatically started to cower and give Barb what she wanted. By the time Jen apologizes, she is now in full defense mode. She is so vulnerable that she doesn't even see that it's just her and Barb, and nobody's around to protect her. Frank's not there. Greg's not there. And everybody else is like, oh my goodness, such a nice party. Alicia's fully happy because she's got the games going on. Sam is at the bar mixing the drinks. Greg has the baby. Barb says something really interesting. Chicky's so happy because her father is holding her. That was a dig at Jen. Barb was doing all of these things, digging at Jen, and we can see it is wearing at Jen. She's fully distressed by the time she goes in there, and Barb lays it into there. Now, here's my prediction. I know people are like, I hope Jen cuts her off. I don't know. My prediction is that Jen is not going to cut off Barb just yet. We're going to get to Jen's wedding, and I think that what's going to happen is Barb is going to fully show her butt, and somehow John is going to step in and save the day. That is my prediction. We shall see. But something tells me that John and Shauna are not initially going to that wedding, that Barb is going to be there and she's going to be her full self, mask off, and the worst. And Jen is going to need to call John in for reinforcements. But we shall see. Let me know what your predictions is for Jen's wedding, and we are going to take it from there. Bye for now.